All right, this morning I've got a pork picnic roast, and I'm going to do this a little bit more traditionally as far as the spices, Puerto Rican style from my children's godmother. And she always makes this great pernil, is what they call it. So it is a great thing to eat, and I'm going to be making this. And the only twist I'm really going to do on this is to cook it outside, but I'm going to use the same spices and roast it out there and see how it comes out. So be ready. Okay, I'm preparing to put this pork pernil together, aka pork picnic roast. And so need to grab a few things. So forgive me for bending over right in front of you like that. At any rate, cutting board. Got some garlic here that we're going to get peeled. And I'm going to show you guys a trick that I use to make it a lot quicker to get this garlic peeled. Now I just am grabbing an aluminum cup with a lid on it. You can do this in a jar as well, glass jar if you want. Works pretty well. A plastic cup with a lid, but I like this. This metal thing works well. And just shaking this garlic up in here just a few times while I jiggle my guts. And then you see what happens. We'll go ahead and pull everything out. And as you can see, clean, peeled garlic, nice and easy. And I know there's people that are out there that have probably shown this before, but hey, if you haven't seen it, it's a good trick to know, and it works really, really well. So I've got all this garlic out, and we'll get this thing going here with the preparation of our pork pernil. And the next thing that I like to do is chop up some garlic. And as you can see, there's another appearance of the legendary chef's knife. And so just going to cut these up, and we're going to get these slivered as much as possible and put into our roast. At this point, what I want to do is I want to get as much of the blood and juices to stay inside of the plastic packaging that is around this pork picnic roast. And so just going to go ahead and get that done. We'll go ahead and pop our seasoning in there so everybody can see what we're working with here. And go ahead and get this thing ready to cook with. And so let's just cut it open and just do as much as we can to keep all of that liquid inside. Now I'm still going to have to kind of pat this dry because, yeah, some liquid does come out. And I've got these old cutting sheets that I have had since probably 2012. I love these little things. One of my friends knew that I cooked, and one year on my birthday, they kind of gave me a bunch of those. So this little piece right here is very important. You want to season all of the meat. So what we want to do is cut this skin back as much as possible. Get in there between the fat and the meat and the skin. And we're going to want to go ahead and pull that back as much as possible. And we're going to get some slits in under here. And of course, we're going to season with the adobo right under here as well. And so try to pull this back as much as possible and just make sure that you've got plenty of surface to work with. This is a thick cut of meat. So for me, this requires quite a bit of seasoning so that you've got that flavor that you need all the way through. I cut up like 6 little cloves of garlic. And so we're going to put this in both sides of the meat, and they're pretty thin. So for the most part, while they're cooking, they seem to disintegrate as they cook, the longer and longer that they cook, they seem to just disintegrate into the meat. And so this is the preparation that I was told is the best way to do this. And so we're just going to get all this garlic in here and work with that. And this is where we start to season, and I'm very liberal with this seasoning. Get as much seasoning on there as possible, simply because the thickness of the meat, we want to allow all of that flavor to get in there. So I'm seasoning this and continuing to put all of these slivers of garlic on both sides of the meat so that we've got flavor all the way through. And so this is something to me that's going to be very, very important to make sure that it tastes very good and we've got everything we need in it. And so very simple preparation, not too difficult, but season it all the way around. I'm going to go ahead and flip this over, and then on the top of this I'm going to put a little bit of that duck fat spray, and I'm going to continue to season the skin as well and kind of let that go from there. And this is not a traditional barbecue preparation necessarily. I am, like I said, doing this skin side up because I want that skin to crisp up as much as possible. So just let it sit for a little bit. Here we go. All right, we're going to let this thing get up to between 275 to 350. We're going to try to maintain that throughout the cook. So I'm probably going to go about a good 3.5, 4 hours on this, 10 pounds. So we'll see when that gets up to temp and move on from there. Okay, you're going to notice that my smoker was at about 426 degrees. I do try to get it a little bit hotter right before I get the meat in there because I've got to get probes attached and everything else. So we'll go ahead and get that done because we do lose some heat after that. Got some crispy skin going on here. This thing's kind of curling up, but that's going to be some good eating in a little bit. Smoky. All right, just about done. It's dark. And here she is on the board in all her glorious darkness. This is a good looking pernil. You can see some of the steam coming off of it, and I really like this thing. It was right here when I knew that I had messed up because my camera did not capture me pulling these bones out. But in the end, this is what we ended up with: some pork pernil with some arroz blanco and some beans, and came out really tasty. Love the chicharron in that, and just crispy and fatty, and this was really shreddable and easy to eat. Hope you guys like this video. Like and subscribe to my channel.